Singing I Can Make You Feel Good. Very nice sound, methinks. I'm Jenny Barnett. It's 12 minutes past 9. And our first story is about people power. I don't know whether you've ever used it, whether you've ever needed it. Have you campaigned for a school crossing outside the child's school? Have you protested against the closure of a hospital? I didn't use people power. Well, I kind of mustered up people. We all started writing to our local council because they closed a gate into the fields which had been open forever. It was common land, and we won. So how have you used people power, if you have used people power? 03459 570057. Now I'm talking to Susan Lockwood, who was affected by the floods. And good morning, Sue.
Good morning.
You are in the process of setting up a residents' association. Tell us the story.
Yes, I live on a mobile home park near Chertsey, and there are approximately 350 homes on the park. And when the flooding occurred, we were just left in the dark. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew what we needed to do. And I liaised with some other residents further up the river and realised that really we need to have a residents' association to put in place a disaster recovery plan for when the flooding happens again.
Now, it was set up originally by your husband, wasn't it?
Yes, years ago. He died 15 years ago, and unfortunately it just dissolved. And I've been busy working and family and commitments elsewhere. But now I feel that we really need to do this again so that people can have some understanding of what they need to do when we flood again.
So, because you're accepting that actually you will flood again, and you live on private land, don't you?
Yes, it's owned by an owner. It's a mobile home park. So most mobile home parks are private land. And we need to liaise, I think, effectively and constructively with the owner and the manager so that we don't have the same experience that we've had in the last 3 months.
So the experience you've had since January has been appalling. Just how badly were you affected with the floods?
We live inside an area that's bounded by the River Bourne, a ditch called the Burway Ditch, and the River Thames, and a main road across from which is Thorpe Park, the entertainment park. And when the water rises in the marina, it comes over the road, so it gets to be about 4 feet deep. And also around the sides where the River Bourne is and where the Burway Ditch is, the water can raise sometimes in some people's gardens to about 4 feet. In my garden, it came up through the ground. It was groundwater, and I was surrounded by a foot of water, which then turned my electrics off and flooded my shed. So I've registered with the Environment Agency, and they phone you either for an alert or a warning, and so I leave because that's the best thing you can do.
So you had no sanitary protection. You've had none of that. Your gorgeous cat's in a cattery.
Yes, she was.
She's back now. That's good.
Yes, she is.
That's good. I mean, it makes a big difference when you've got a little thing that you can tickle in the middle of the night with all this.
I know.
But where did you go when all this happened?
Well, the first time I talked to my daughter the night before saying the water's rising really fast, and she lives in Shropshire. So on the 7th of January, I drove to Shropshire for 2.5 weeks, as it turned out, because unfortunately the public drains and the drains on Penton Park got flooded, and we couldn't use our bath water or our toilets. So portaloos were brought on the site, but it took until the 19th of March to get the drains up and running again. So I went between my daughter, a friend in Virginia Water, back to my daughter, until I could actually use my toilet and my washing machine.
Do you know, the thing is, when all the pictures of the floods were coming on, we knew how awful it was. But when you're in the middle of living that, marooned in your own home, unable to have just the basic amenities, just how desperate did you get?
I actually bought my own portaloo, a small one, and had it in my bath. I have a tank on my patio that my bath water goes into so I can water my garden in the summertime, so I could take a shower. But washing up was difficult. You chose not to use too many dishes because the water had to be put on your garden, basically.
So starting up the Residents' Association again, was that easy to do, given that 15 years ago it was there?
No, it's not, because it has been attempted twice before in the last 15 years, and unfortunately they just didn't go very far. So I've taken advice from a national organisation where you can register as a resident association, and we need 50% of the residents to sign up. So I'm now 30 residents short of being able to start it up.
Oh, come on, residents of Penton Park, get signed, otherwise Sue's work will go nowhere. So once you've got that residents association signatures, once you've got,
yes,
then how are you going to make things better for the future?
Well, then hopefully you have a committee who can then meet regularly with the manager and with the owner and just go forward so that the things that have happened before won't happen again, because nobody knew what to do. That's what was so scary.
So scary. Just before I ask about insurance, let me ask that living there, when things are okay, is it idyllic?
Yeah, it is actually.
It is idyllic. So you require the owner to recognise that? I mean, he can't throw you off, can he?
No. The owner owns the land. We buy our own mobile homes, and you pay ground rent for the pitch that you're on.
Right.
And they provide the main facilities, like the lighting, street lighting, the electricity into your home, and the drainage facilities. You have to pay all those utility costs yourself.
Yeah, well, of course, yes, sure.
And if you have a nice garden, and they expect you to keep your garden up nice, and most people do. And so it's just like any other area of residence. It's just different, and then it's mobile homes.
And you're in countryside, so now that things have dried out, we've had some lovely sunshine. Are you surrounded by daffodils and bluebells?
Yeah, we are. There's still a lot of mud around and refuse. You go out on the main road because Staines and Chertsey were affected really badly. So you're still aware that we're still recovering. And my garden is half like mud and half like dry. It's weird.
Oh. and then did the insurance company help you out? That's a critical question.
Yeah, they've been lovely. There are very few insurance companies that actually insure mobile homes. And when I called them, they were really helpful, and that's why I was able to put my cat in a cattery. And I sent off my claim about 2 weeks ago, and I talked to them this week, and it's being processed. So they've been really helpful.
30 people, that's all we need for this Lockwood. Let's shout at them, please, Sue, and let's hope you get your signatures. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sue. That's Susan Lockwood. Now, I'm bringing in Tony Parks. Good morning, sir. You are Commercial Director for SBS Insurance Services.
Yeah, good morning, Jenny.
Hi, Tony. So now, the situation like this, we do know that there are many people that the insurance companies have suddenly gone to the small print, and then people aren't getting their money. Tell us what the situation is.
Well, the first thing, referring back to Susan's story, I think there's a nice story there about a good experience and how she's been treated well. And there's many insurance companies out there which do treat their customers well, but more and more often now people are shopping on price for insurance. But from listening to Susan's story there, the most important thing to her is her sort of lifestyle, her cats, her everyday life and her possessions. And customers need to find the right insurance company which is going to manage the claim in the way they want to. And
how do you do that, Tony? How do you find the right one?
Well, Susan's a great example there. She lives in a permanent mobile home, and therefore there's specialist providers out there which work with residents like herself. For the rest of us, the best thing to do is to go online and research it. I think we all go on holiday now, and we use companies like TripAdvisor to research our holiday. There's companies out there which we can look online, see what customers are saying about the policy they've got, and actually see what the insurance companies are covering.
So now, people who have little bits of flooding, like an old house or something with a cellar, you would then put in, I want to be insured, my cellar was flooded 25 years ago, I've had it mended, now everything's okay, will you cover me? Is that the kind of thing you do?
Yeah, exactly. Or even ring your insurance company up. I think the main thing about insurance is we all don't really look at what we're covered until we have the claim.
Yeah.
And in many instances, when we do that, we realise that, for example, my engagement ring is worth £2,000 and I'm only covered for £1,000.
Right,
and
okay.
it's these types of things which, if you're proactive with the insurance company now, you can make sure that you've got the right level of cover.
Now, Tony Parks, it's always brilliant to talk to people like you, because you do actually stop people panicking. But you look at other people's claims and you are finding that many of them have got missing details.
Yeah, we see that a lot of people's claims that they actually aren't covered for what they want to be covered. So my first bit of advice would be to actually go and look at what you want covered, and then look back at your policy, look what's covered, and engage with the insurance company. And for people like Susan, you know, I'd be more than happy to give them advice on making sure they got the right level of cover for their type of situation.
Tony Parks, you are invaluable. Thank you, my darling.
I'd just like to also
That's
say
Tony Parks, Commercial Director for SBS Insurance. Now...